Hey, what's going on, everyone? Sly, and I'm finally over that game, man. It took me a while, but I think I'm doing better now. Talked to my therapist, and she said it's gonna be all right. So I think it's gonna be all right. But let's talk about who's to blame. Like, who's the problem? We have to find out who the problem is. And I know most people out there, at least on my comment section, are saying it's Kyle Shanahan's fault, man. They want him on a platter. To me, I think his player personnel, huge problem, obviously, but I don't think he's the main problem. I think, in my opinion, the main problem is Nick Sorensen, man.
What we need to do now is get focused and stop pointing fingers. You're a problem. You're a real problem.
I mean, I believe that for the simple fact, man, that this guy is out there and you know exactly what it's gonna be. We're gonna have four dudes at the line of scrimmage. Nothing out there that's exotic. It's the same shit. It's the same exact thing. It's nothing like DeMeco Ryans would always be exotic with his blitzes. Have seven guys at the line of scrimmage. Dudes move back. Guys blitz. It was beautiful, man. It was absolutely amazing. It's kind of like when you're at the club with a girl, and you're with her, whatever happens, you wake up in the morning with her, you turn around, you look at her, and you're like, oh shoot, is that the same girl? Like, all the makeup's gone, and she looks completely different, man. She looks, like she disguised her blitz, like she knew exactly what she was doing. And that's kind of what we got with DeMeco. We're not seeing that with Nick Sorensen at all. And you know who noticed that? And I love this. Brian Baldinger, man. Brian Baldinger, he tells it like it is. And I love that about him. He's done no BS whatsoever. He tells it like it is. And this is what he had to say about this whole situation.
And for 13 yards and a first down prior to that, right, Joe? And you watch the play, and nobody has the signal. The defensive line they're all looking at each other like, what's the call, right? And so Seattle's in hurry up. They're in a NASCAR mode. They're going up tempo, and really, when they rushed, nobody was coming off the ball. And then and especially in the last one, like, there's no discipline to the rush. One defensive tackle is getting washed inside. There's a huge lane. Obviously, there's no Nick Bosa on the field. He got hurt earlier. And so, whenever he's not out there, it's always noticeable. But I saw undisciplined rushes, Joe, and I saw on a couple of those. And then, look, Jackson Smith and Jigba, he's just finding the holes in the zone on some of those throws. And there's no pressure on Geno. And so, it's a combination of no pressure, zone defense, receivers that understand how to find the openings. They took advantage of it.
I wonder, Jackson Smith and Jigba is going to be a star this league. He is coming along here. He's ascending. He's a baller. Seeing him in person, I'm like, wow, look at the route running by this young man. But do you think they should have maybe blitzed more? Because Greg Olson was on the broadcast. He's saying, man, one blitz here. And Nick Bosa, he was on the field, Seattle averaged 3.3 yards a play. He left the game early third quarter, Baldy. Seattle started averaging 6 yards a play. So without your premier pass rusher, Leonard Floyd's obviously going to get the attention on the other side. Do you think Sorensen maybe should have dialed up more pressures? Now, I know that puts a lot of stress on your young secondary, but something's got to give here. You got to either get some pressure on Geno. He got way too comfortable in that second half.
It was too easy. It's easy for Greg. Look, I don't disagree with Greg at all. But even, when they did blitz, it was just Fred Warner just kind of fitting in as a fifth rusher. There wasn't anything overloads or free hitters. They don't really know how to do that. I'm not here to throw Nick Sorensen under the bus, but they don't, as opposed to, Steve Spagnuolo and some of these other teams in this league that are good blitzing teams, they just don't know how to get a free hitter to the quarterback. They just don't dial it up. They don't overload. They don't disguise. And so they're pretty bland in what they do.
Wow.
All right, man. The proof is in the pudding. Like, we right now don't know how to blitz. We don't know how to disguise blitzes. We don't know how to do any of that stuff. We blitzed, I believe, 2 times in that game. On that last drive when Bosa was out, we blitzed, but we blitzed freaking Lenore, our best corner. You don't blitz your best damn corner, and we have Charvarius Ward's who's not even there. Ronaldo Green's in and out. It's like, bro, you get D Winner's ass out there and have him blitz, you know? Like, what are we doing here? So, I just, it just doesn't make sense to me. I look at John Chapman's tweet, and he's posting out that the Niners, I think, are dead last, 31st or 32nd in giving up the most points in the fourth quarter. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? And I'm hearing Steve Wilkes last year was the best in the fourth quarter. So it's like complete polar opposite, you know. Say what you want about Steve Wilkes. Personally, I really didn't care if he was fired or not, but I said if we did fire him, it had to be someone great. It had to be a great defensive mind, you know. If you know Bill Belichick said he'll come, hell yeah, you do it. If you have a great defensive mind, you do it. But Nick Sorensen, man, you look at his pictures of him as a Jacksonville Jaguar. The dude looks like a dork, man. He looks like he's like one of those jocks. Like, I'm sorry, man. That's what he looked like. And watching him in that game against Seattle, his ass like chewing his gum like nothing, like a freaking high school coach. I see these high school coaches just chewing their gum like nonchalant, like nothing. I'm just like, are you serious, man? Like, you would think he'd be in his playbook thinking. No, he's just chewing his gum, looking around. Oh, man. It's the same crap every fourth quarter, man. We're just giving up lead after lead after lead. And I just don't get it, man. If I'm Nick Sorensen, I'm pounding the table. Kyle, this is what we got to do. We got to bench Devondre Campbell's ass. You know, and then you got to start doing some exotic blitzes. Do some shit, you know? It seems like this dude, he's like wanting to get fired. Like, he's wanting to get fired. And I think that's what's going to happen. Kyle is never going to blame a game on him. He's never going to blame. He's always going to have a scapegoat. You know, 2021, when we couldn't score in the fourth quarter, up 10 points. You know, who was the scapegoat of that game? Who did Kyle make sure not to bring back? Who was it? It was Jacoski Tart. He freaking blamed him for that game, even though we couldn't score 3 more points. We didn't score anything in that fourth quarter. It was just like 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. You know, have to have a scapegoat. So right now, the way it's looking like it's going to be Nick Sorensen's ass. Like, it looks like it's going to be his ass being the one that's going to be the scapegoat. And rightfully so. If Steve Wilkes gets fired for having the number 2, number 3 defense, whatever it was, for allowing, 19, 20 points in 4 quarters against the KC Chiefs, if you don't think Sorensen's ass is on his way out, I don't know what to tell you, man. I think he's on his way out unless these last 7 games he balls out. Like, his defense just goes all out. Because right now we're in the middle of the pack, and I get it. There are weaknesses to this defense. You know it. Like the defensive tackles. When Hargrave went out, the pressures went down. And when Bosa's not out there, we see what happened. You know, I get that. You know, I get Devondre Campbell out there, but you got to freaking do everything you can to mix this shit up, you know? You can't have that vanilla-ass defense, 4 dudes spread out at the line. It's just so predictable, so damn predictable, and it's a lot of bending, lot of bending, not breaking, but in that fourth quarter, that dam just freaking breaks every damn time. Every time that in that fourth quarter, that dam just breaks, you know, and it's cost us games. So, I mean, you can see it, man. He's dead man walking. Unless he changes things up, he's dead man walking. And I'm glad Brian Baldinger out there, he pointed it out. Because he's absolutely right, man. You blitz twice. You blitz once with Bosa out. And that's the worst blitz ever. Such a weak-ass blitz, you know. Send the freaking house, you know. Do something. Like, do something. Not that weak-ass shit. 2 of the last 3 drives, they scored a touchdown. Unbelievable, man. So, maybe my therapist was wrong. Maybe I'm not over that game. Ah, dang, I'm having, like, Vietnam flashbacks right now, man. Oh, well. Hopefully we get the win. And I think we can win this game. Like, Green Bay, I think they're a bit overrated, man. There's some losses that was like questionable losses. Close-ass games. They probably should have lost to Chicago last week at home. They should have. Oh, no, I think that was on Chicago. But they should have lost that game. So, I mean, if we win, I think we're going to have a shootout. But if Nick Sorensen can come through, play a great defensive game, He still has a chance for next year, but he has to step it up. If we don't make the playoffs, there will be a scapegoat. And no way in hell I don't think they're firing Kyle. So, I mean, I've never said fire Kyle because I know we're not going to fire him. They just extended him, I think, last year. And, yeah, so I don't see that happening at all. You know, I do not see them firing Kyle. But I 100% do see Nick Sorensen on the hot seat. I really do. I really think that's what the scapegoat's going to be. But rightfully so. If he doesn't step his ass up, rightfully so. But that's what I got, man. Let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe. Talk to you next time. Peace.